General quarters.
Hey guys, Magic Man here, and I'm going to be bringing you another game in my Tier 6 Ognevoi. I'm currently grinding this ship out, so you might be seeing a lot of videos on it of just some of the games that I have. And in this game, I'm actually in a division with one of my fleet mates. I try not to put videos up where I'm actually in a division because I think divisions do actually skew the results and how well you actually perform. Because typically you don't get the same level of teamwork out of other random players. And I'm just kind of moving back and forth here, looking at the green lines on the capture points to see if I'm actually getting into them first. And I'm thinking about staying behind this island and capturing this, but then I thought to myself, it's probably a bad idea. There's so many destroyers, there'll be one hiding behind an island somewhere else. And one of them actually already becomes spotted, but he's actually not in the middle, and there's somebody in here with me. He got in here at the same time I did because I did not start capturing this point. And I assume it was probably that Nicholas right there that is actually firing. So I'm going to go ahead and smoke up. I do not want to be spotted at this point. Typically destroyers spotted this early, they get focused on. And I actually fired AP at him. I still had AP loaded from the last match. Didn't even notice it, like a dummy. And this guy actually got his engine knocked out, and he does not have last stand because he is not keeping up any amount of speed. And because I know his engine is knocked out, I know he's not going to be moving very fast. And so I'm just trying to lead him to where I think he's at and hit him while he's in the smoke. And that was the first shot I missed. I think I missed this shot as well. And that was pretty much it for all the shells I was able to land on those guys, unfortunately. And there's the enemy Ognevoi, and that's when I spotted the Farragut, who was very, very close. So I decided to start wailing on him, and I'm actually going to turn around and start kiting him away, like I always do against American destroyers. It's the best thing you can do to take the least amount of damage, and wow, dispersion really got me on that one. The shells dispersed around the ship. And that's actually why I left my smoke, because I felt like there might be torpedoes coming. I didn't know for sure, but I didn't want to take a torpedo unnecessarily, and I'm just trying to dodge shots here as I'm shooting at this Farragut. And I was really hoping some of the cruisers on my team would shoot at this guy, because I am the only one shooting at this Farragut. And there comes in a shot from a cruiser, thankfully, but he didn't do a whole lot of damage. And I'm just trying to kite him away, but this Farragut's actually driving himself into a position that's very dangerous for him, because he's getting very close to my friendlies. But that doesn't seem to be stopping him, and this is where my division mate over there, Captain Brown, is actually going to come around and take this guy out. Or at least I think he does. But unfortunately we lose a cruiser there, and we lost another cruiser over on the 3 and 4 line, about the F square that was pushing up a little bit too aggressively. But fortunately for us, we've lost only 2 cruisers. We haven't lost any of our destroyers, and that is incredibly important on this map, because typically whoever keeps their destroyers alive on Epicenter, this particular game type, that's the team that typically wins. Destroyers are just so important in capturing these zones, especially the middle one. And I was actually talking with Captain Brown at this point about coming around this corner and surprising some of these ships, but he would really be the only one capable of actually doing anything. My torpedoes are only 4 kilometers, and if I came around this corner, because I have no idea how many other ships could be behind this island, all I can see is just that cruiser at the moment. And I actually pre-fire some torps to see if I can get this destroyer, because and that's when I noticed that he actually turned away. And Captain Brown actually let me know that he was firing these torpedoes. He actually put me in a very tight spot here because I didn't want to take a whole bunch of damage, and I wanted to bust a U-turn here and go back the other way, but I have to keep sailing forward because he fired torpedoes on the other side of me, and that was, I don't know, had to sit him down and have a talk with him about that afterwards. But not firing torpedoes when if you're not the destroyer. But here come the torpedoes, and I'm actually going to ground myself so I can stop quickly and smoke up, because at this point I don't have a choice. And there's a smoke. And here are all the incoming shells. But I feel like this is a pretty good opportunity to take out this Nicholas, because he has been a thorn in my side for a fair part of the game. He kind of YOLO'd into the cap, and he still hasn't died yet. It'd be nice if I could get some of my friendly cruisers to take a whack at him, but it's just not happening. Well, I shouldn't say our friendly cruisers, because both of the cruisers in this game are dead. Didn't notice that till about halfway through this map, and I was like, man, why aren't the cruisers killing these destroyers? And then I looked up at the team, and I was like, oh, they're all dead. So at this point, I did get a fire sit on that Texas, which is what I was aiming for, and Captain Brown should be firing. I think he was focusing him down as well. Yeah, you can see his shells coming in on the left side of the screen there. And I was just sitting in this smoke waiting to capture this zone before I left, and checking out to see if the fire was still raging on the Texas, and now I'm going to see if I can get this Nicholas. Shouldn't be too hard. I definitely have the advantage here, although the Nicholas does have 960 meter per second shells, which should make it a little bit easier for him to hit me. But land 4 shots on him, and then our carrier takes care of the rest and drops some dive bombers on him. And I'm just gonna try and get out of the range of this Ognevoi. That's a very dangerous destroyer. I would know I'm driving one, and that's when I see this Mitsuki. And these things are incredibly hard to hit when they're dodging around like this. He's just like all kinds of random turns. I can't really tell which way he's gonna go. But he finally commits to a direction so that he can torpedo our friendly battleship, and he's actually gonna kill him. And New Mexico didn't stand a chance. And this, I didn't want this guy to get away. I'm just flabbergasted that he's lived this long. There's so much fire coming in, but none of these guys are actually landing any shots on him. And yeah, I know I got on to Captain Brown for firing torpedoes close to a friendly earlier, specifically me, but I felt like there was a slim to nil chance that New Mexico was going to be turning around. And I'm pretty sure the Ognevoi is backed up, but at this point we are going to lose another battleship. I don't know why battleships drive in straight lines, but they just love to. But yeah, he was an easy target for the enemy Ognevoi to torpedo, and he actually takes him out, which is unfortunate for us. And he's actually still sitting in that smoke screen. Captain Brown dumps off both of his torpedo tubes into that smoke, but when I got to this angle to look, I'm like, he was a little bit closer to the island than where you fired your torpedoes, and I told him he was probably going to miss all of them, and he in fact does. And this cruiser over here is actually spotting me right now, which is kind of in a bad position. I didn't know he was back here, or at least I didn't see him. Either way, this friendly destroyer actually does me a favor and lays me a smoke screen, and that guy gets taken out by our friendly battleship. Koenig does a number on him, And right now it's looking pretty good for us. We've had the middle zone captured for a while, so we've got definitely have a point advantage. So we have all the advantages at this particular moment. And that's when that enemy Ognevoi gets spotted. He's in a rough place because there are 4 destroyers over here that are basically, they've got a hard on for him. And he is definitely not going to get away, or at least I'm not going to try and let him get away. So we have captured the inner 2 most zones at this point now, and me and Captain Brown are going to try and kill this destroyer. And he's actually going to do the smart thing here, and he's going to turn and kite us. And I thought he was going to continue to turn right, which is why I shot there. And Captain Brown actually, I had to tell him to turn in close to that island because I felt like there might be torpedoes incoming. Sure enough, there were. But he actually does something dumb here, and he shows the whole side of his ship to us for whatever reason. That was really stupid. The Ognevoi, if you ever watch the little mini-map at the bottom left, or not the little mini-map, but the little ship icon on the bottom left that has the compass on it, showing you which direction your gun turrets are facing and your torpedo tubes. The Ognevoi has very good firing angles. That front gun can turn very sharply backwards and still fire. And that's why I think the Ognevoi is such a good ship at kiting away, because you can stay at a very harsh angle. It makes you very hard to hit. But as you can see there, that enemy destroyer that we just killed already given us the good game, and all of us destroyers are just going to focus down this. It's actually an ARP ship. It's like some sort of, I think it's Japanese anime or something, with, like, you know, the old World War II ships. But it's actually a prize ship for doing a whole bunch of damage, and we actually score Confederate there. So I know I've done quite a bit of damage in this game to several different ships, and right now I'm sitting on 89 hits, and this game is pretty much in the bag for us. Almost all of our destroyers have lived, and I'm telling Captain Brown to turn broadside to these dive bombers. If you're ever getting dive bombed and you're in a destroyer, always go broadside, because those dive bombers, they drop in a sort of a star pattern. So if you can get right in the middle of that drop, typically they're going to miss you because you're such a small target. So I'm just giving him a little bit of heads up on what to do. Unfortunately, we both had the idea of popping our smoke screens and hiding in them so that he couldn't see us. And he's actually turning. And he's going to overturn here, and that's kind of what gets him hit there. He turned just a little bit too much, and the front of his ship got whacked. Had he stayed straight on those, straight broad on, he probably would have not hit him with that strike. And I felt like our other 2 friendly destroyers had that battleship, so I head up here to corner of the map to try and kill the carrier, because the points don't tick up very quickly on Epicenter. So I figured I would get a kill in before we won, and actually turn on my anti-air here to see just how terrible it is at shooting down planes. And with the help of Captain Brown's AA, we actually shoot down that spotter plane, surprisingly. And at this particular moment, just trying to sell and kill the carrier to get this game over with, because they finally sunk that battleship down there. Now, I don't think I actually end up with any kills in this game, but I did do quite a bit of damage to everybody, and our carrier did a fine job. But this is actually a replay of this match. I didn't actually take any screenshots of the result, but I was top of the team with about 2,400 experience. The assisted captures definitely helped. But I thought these dive bombers were going to be coming for me. And I was waiting to see which direction they were going to go, and I turned on my anti-air, and that's when I think he spotted Captain Brown and decided to go for him. But I told him, I'm like, just stay broadside on, you'll probably be okay, and sure enough, they all miss. And it's unfortunate, but I think the carrier actually gets lucky on this next strike and actually takes Captain Brown out, which I didn't want to see. I wanted him to actually survive the game, but yeah, as you can see there, it's just the drop pattern is sort of RNG-ish, but it definitely does have a star pattern to it when they drop. So, and I'm doing some pretty good damage here with AP, but his health is just not going away fast enough for me, so I switch over to HE, and this is actually one of the better torpedo drops I've ever seen by a carrier player on a destroyer that turned nose in. Had I not been, you know, selling directly at it, it might have armed just in time to hit me, but as it turns out,